Hi there, parents and guardians. Hope you all are doing well. Introduce myself. I'm Ryan Moosak. Go as Moose or Mr. Moose for the kids. I'll be your child's AP US history teacher this year. Just want to give you a quick little overview of the class, what they can expect, and give you a chance to ask any questions you have regarding AP US history. So here we go. About me, I've been doing this whole teaching thing for 19 years now. Started my 14th year here in Sauk Prairie. I'm the Sauk Prairie forensics coach. Outside of this, I also work with Sources of Strength and a few other groups. Married with my wife Natalie, who is a teacher in the district. We have our two dogs, Bodie and Cash, who you see in the picture there. I'm also a volunteer EMT for Sauk Prairie Ambulance, so I do that in my spare time. Teach a few other classes here: world history, U.S. history, American government, AP Gov, economics, whatever they need taught. I basically teach it, so it happens. But APUSH, or AP US History, is one of my favorite classes to teach, so I'm really excited to be doing that this year. So what is APUSH, or AP US History? So you get it, AP US History, APUSH, we call it that. It's a college board program. It's designed to be a college level entry course, so think like your 101, 102 level history class for college. There are scores that they can get when they take the test in May. If they take the test in May, the goal is that score that can then turn into college credit at the university you're choosing. Even if you're taking this class as a freshman right now, you could take this and have anywhere from 3 to 6 college credits all ready to go, even before your sophomore year of high school. So there can be some major benefits to doing this class, and as well as taking the test for college credit. We'll be covering everything from 1491 to the present in U.S. history. So a lot of times this will equal out to being 2 college classes worth of material. So my main reference is UW-Madison, where I went to school. We have a 101, 102. This class covers all the material in both of those classes. So what we'll do, we're going to analyze history, not just memorize stuff. So you think about history as memorizing. That was when I was back in high school. It's not that anymore. Yes, you have to know stuff. You have to know about history, kind of put things in order, but it's going to be about analyzing sources, writing arguments, and linking up the information we have to the skills and themes. So just knowing the names and dates, that kind of stuff, is not going to be enough. It's going to be how well can you apply that to these different ideas here, right? To different themes, to arguments, and all that, okay? And so that's what we're going to be asking students to keep taking that next step forward, what they may have done in their previous history classes. What they'll need, we use 2 textbooks in this class. We have what's called AMSCO. We just got this year, that's going to be their at-home reading, so that's what they're expected to read on their own, either at home or in the study halls or wherever. And we'll have another book called American Pageant, which is well known as a U.S. history, AP U.S. history book. We'll use that in class once in a while. We'll use them both, but students are expected to read the AMSCO book kind of on their own. It's a very, I also call it a Cliff's Notes version of history. It's very no nonsense and kind of gets the main ideas that I want kids coming in to know prior to our classes, okay? Make sure they have some kind of 3-ring binder, be great. I do hand out a study guide, which is 3-ring punched. They can then add those together and make a big study document for themselves. Something to write with, something to write on. Their school issue Chromebook is great, and they'll have a lot of the materials in Google Classroom as well. So here are the skills we're going to try and do. Number 1 is called developments and process. Basically, know history, know how it happens, and how can you connect it different ideas, okay? So skill 1 and skill 5 kind of connect together. What are the things that happen? How are they happening? When are they happening? That part, right? We'll get sourcing and situation. So looking at different sources, written sources, image sources, video sources from history, and analyzing them. Looking at the claims in sources both made by historical figures and by other historians, and analyzing those claims and the evidence that they provide. Looking at contextualization, basically putting sources and events in order and figuring out how each one kind of affects the other one, and making connections across those events. So like how do events impact each other, how they impact time periods, and lastly, writing arguments and being able to argue about that history. So the kind of arguing we're going to do is one of 3 types here. We'll do comparison, causation, and continuity and change. So we're going to be able to compare events over time or between 2 time periods, or how things are, or whatever it might be. We look at causation being the causes and effects of something that happened. So causes of World War I, the effects of World War I, causes of the Great Depression, the effects of the Great Depression. And then continuity and change. So how patterns develop over time. Maybe how did women's rights change from the 1800s to the 1960s, that kind of thing. How different patterns develop between different time periods. There are themes that we'll look at. So one is like national identity. So how's the idea of like an American identity changed? Look at work exchange technology, kind of the economic history, if you will. Migration, settlement, where do people come from, where do people go? And how those changes impact the United States history. We'll look at politics and power, how political parties worked, how they change American life. Look at America in the world, how we do our various global conflicts and global interventions, and going back to the first parts of U.S. history, how the geography of the United States impacted history, how we developed different regional cultures. So looking at regional cultures from the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, all that, and lastly, how the social classes, social structures of the United States develop as well. So there's 9 periods of study. Usually I collapse down the first and second and the 8th and 9th together to make 7. Just a little easier that way. There's a multiple choice test for each unit. All the tests are AP type questions. They have a stimulus on them, which is like a chunk of a document, a picture, an image, whatever it might be. And some of the questions relate to that. Some are in context, some are other areas of that. There'll be short answer questions, which is kind of like an ABC thing. So it's almost like a 6 to 8 sentence answer. And then essays. We'll be writing essays, either a document-based question, the DBQ, or the FRQ, a free response question. Those become, naughty words for students later on when you hear them, because they're a lot of work and they're kind of hard. We're going to try and weekly assess students on at least one skill we have. Focus on those skills either through an SAQ or multiple choice quiz, and having our big unit tests as well. So our daily work is going to be reading guides we have and concept maps put together. I do a lot of flipped lectures where I assign a little video along with the reading we have. We'll do different things in class then, like analyze sources, Socratic seminars, role plays, simulations, debates, our reflections and responses. We'll do a lot of work in class, whereas I want students to do their basic reading, the real easy flip lectures on their own. Grading wise, we're doing standards-based or the evidence-based grading here this year. Some people love it, some people don't like it. It is what it is, right? So we worked with the other AP teachers, the AP history teachers, and kind of set up this grading scale. So we're looking at the first 5 skills here, kind of go under our content skills. That's going to be all measured by the multiple choice questions, okay? The 3 argument skills are measured by the short answer questions. So comparison, causation, continuity, change over time. And the essays kind of have their own thing. We'll be having essentially looking at the College Board rubric, how well can they score on those essays, the long essay and the document base. Long essay is scored out of 7, document based question is scored out of 8, and how good does that score look at, and how is it then will translate to a 1, 2, 3, 4 with our standards-based grading. Notice the 0 here, just a little check off for executive function for students. How well they participate in class, how well they work ethic, are they doing their work they gotta do, taking care of stuff, or maybe not so much. So we look at the grade book and tell, hey, these scores are pretty low. Well, are you doing your work? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? All those kind of things. The AP test itself will be May 8th, 2026. This class runs first and second try. So there's about a 4 to 6 week break where students will be able to study for that test. So you can see the test breakdown here. There's 55 multiple choice questions they answer in 50 minutes. That is 40% of the test. The short answer is 3 questions. They have 4 to choose from. You have the 2 required, and you choose 1 or 2. They have 40 minutes for that. The test is 20% of the exam score, and the rest will be the essays, the DBQ, and the long essay, which equals out to 40%. So you can kind of tell how the grades break down, same kind of thing. We did 40% for multiple choice, 40% for essays, and then 20% for that short answer. So we try to mimic that test as much as possible in our grading setup. Little things I'll try and be better about Skyward this year grading. I get behind, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to try and make my goal to make sure Skyward's updated. If it's not, yell at me, please. Google Classroom, I'll put all materials on there. Hopefully a calendar as well that I'll share with students. And again, if you see them watching YouTube, like I'm doing homework, they actually might be because they're watching me do one of these for you guys. Contact me, my email's on here, and I'll be on my stuff as well. My class phone is here. Hopefully, if I'm here, I'll answer. Otherwise, I'll get back to you. I try to be here if I can from at least 7 a.m. to 4:30, depending on meetings, appointments, that kind of jazz. If you got any questions or any concerns at all, please send them my way. Look forward to working with you and your students this year. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.